Hi, 5th grade. It's Mrs. Gioka with your flipped math lesson for today, 9-8. Today's objective is I can subtract fractions and mixed numbers with unlike denominators. So that number on the bottom today is going to be different, and we're going to be doing that on regular fractions and mixed numbers. Okay? So here's our practice problem. Linda had 2/3 of a yard of fabric left. She used 1/4 of a yard for a sewing project. How much fabric did she have left? So after that, then how much did she have left? So what it's asking us to do is find out how much fabric she had left. I know the operation is going to be subtraction. And the important information I have is that she had started with 2/3 of a yard of fabric, and then she used 1/4 of a yard of fabric. So making my algebraic expression, I can put 2/3 minus 1/4. Okay? So here are the steps for subtracting. Step 1 is to find a common denominator and write equivalent fractions. To find a common denominator, I have some choices, just like I did when I was doing addition. I can multiply the two numbers together that are denominators, or I can find the least common multiple of those and go through all of the multiples of 3 and go through all the multiples of 4 and find the first multiple that is the same for both of them. Okay? Either of those will work. I'm going to multiply the numbers at the bottom together, and when I do that, I get 12ths. 3 times 4 is 12. Okay, so 12 is going to be my new number. Now I look at each fraction individually, so I can change the numerator as well. To get from 3 to 4, to get from 3 to 12, I multiplied times 4. To get there, I had to multiply times 4. So now I'm going to do that to the top as well, because whatever I do to the bottom of a fraction, I have to do to the top of the fraction. And I'm only doing it on the same fraction. Okay, I have some friends who are doing it to both fractions, but no, you just do to the same fraction that you're working on. So I multiply the top, the numerator, times 4 as well. 2 times 4 is 8. Now I can look at the other fraction. Okay, to get from 4 to 12, I multiplied times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. Whatever I do to the bottom of the fraction, I have to do to the top as well. So I take 1 times 3. 1 times 3 is 3. So I have written equivalent fractions with a common denominator. They both have the denominator of 12. So I have 8 12ths and 3 12ths. So I'm going to have 8 12ths minus 3 12ths. Okay? Step 2 is to subtract and then simplify if necessary. Okay, just like we did before when we did addition, now that we have a common denominator, the denominator stays the same. Okay, it will always stay the same, and we only subtract the numerators. So now we only subtract 8 minus 3. 8 minus 3 is 5. If you can, you could simplify. Okay, on this problem, 5 12ths we can't simplify. I can't divide down 5 12ths by any other number. Okay, let's try a few together. So first we have 5 6 minus 1/2. I need to find a common denominator because the denominators on the bottom are different for both 6 and 2. So I need to find a common denominator. The multiples of 2 are 2, 4, 6. Oh, 6. That's a multiple of 6 as well, of course. So 6 is going to be my new denominator. Okay? Now, since 5 6 already has a denominator of 6, I'm just going to keep the same fraction. Okay? I'm writing it down below, and it's the same fraction. I'm going to change 1/2 to 6ths, but since the bottom number is different, I have to find out how I changed it and do that change to the numerator as well. Okay? So, to get 2 to 6, I had to multiply times 3. 2 times 3 is 6. Whatever I do to the bottom, I also have to do to the top. So I multiply that top number times 3 as well. 1 times 3 is 3. Okay? Let me get rid of all my extra stuff here. So now I have 5 6 minus 3 6. My answer is still going to be 6. I only subtract the numerators. 5 minus 3 is 2. So now I have 2 6. Well, 2 6 can be divided down. A number that goes into both 2 and 6 is 2. I can divide 2 by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So I simplified my fraction down to 1/3. Number 2, 4/7 minus 1/3. Okay, I'm going to find the least common multiple of 3 and 7. I have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, and 21. The factors of 7 are 7, 14, and 21. I see that 21 is a common factor for, or common multiple for both of them, so that's the one I'm going to use. Okay, so 21 is going to become my new denominator for both fractions. And I have to think about, how did I get from 7 to 21? I multiplied it times 3. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top as well, so I have to take the 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. On the other fraction, I think about how I got from 3 to 21. I multiplied it times 7. Now I do the same thing to my numerator. I have to take it times 7. 1 times 7 is 7. I'm still subtracting. Whoops. So I'll get rid of my little extra stuff here, so I have room. Alright. 21st minus 7 21st. Still going to be 21st. Okay, keep the same denominator. I only subtract the numerators. 12 minus 7 is 5. So I have 5 21st. I cannot divide that down any further and simplify it. Number 3. 7/8 minus 1/3. Okay, I can find the least common factors. Least common multiple, or I can multiply those numbers together to get my new denominator. This time I'm going to just multiply them together. So when I multiply those numbers together, 8 times 3 is 24. So 24 is going to be my new denominator for both of my fractions. To get from 8 to 24, I had to multiply it times 3. So I multiply the numerator by 3 as well. 7 times 3 is 21. To get my 3 from 3 to 24, I had to multiply it times 8. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So I have to multiply the top number by 8. 1 times 8 is 8. Let me make some room again. Okay, so now I have 21 24ths minus 8 24ths. My answer is going to remain 24ths on the bottom. I only subtract the numerators. 21 minus 8. If you can't do it in your head, just do it out to the side. There we go. It's 13. So I have 13 24ths. That's my answer. I cannot divide that down any further, so that's where it stays. Alright, your turn. 1/3 minus 1/6. Pause the video, solve the problem, and then I'll come back and I'll give you the answer. Okay, I changed 1/3 to 2/6 so that I could have a common denominator of 6. And 2/6 minus 1/6 equals 1/6. Number 5. 2/9 minus 1/8. Okay, 2/9 minus 1/8 have a common denominator of 70 seconds, and to get there from 9 to 72 I had to multiply times 8. And to get from 8 to 72, I had to multiply times 9. So I got 16 70-seconds minus 9 70-seconds, and subtract, and that equals 7 70-seconds. There are no other factors of 7 and 72 other than 1 and the number, so that's it. Alright, well, how do you subtract mixed numbers? So now we've been subtracting fractions. What about subtracting mixed numbers? Well, we're going to start off kind of easy, and then we're going to move into some mixed numbers that are more challenging. Okay, so when you have mixed numbers, what we're going to do is we're going to ignore at first the whole number and just focus on the fraction. Okay, so 1/2 minus 1/2 is where we're going to start. And if I had a half of a brownie and I took away half of a brownie, well, then that would equal 0, right? So then after I do the fraction, then I can focus on the mixed number. Or I'm sorry, not the mixed number, the whole number, 2 minus 1. And 2 minus 1 equals 1. So if I had 2.5 and I subtracted 1.5, I would have 1 left over. Okay? So it's not too different than what we just did, except we are going to do the whole numbers after we have subtracted fractions. Okay. What if the denominator is different though? Well, we're going through the same process we just went through before, is we have to change the denominator so it is equivalent, so that the factors are common and you have a common factor, or I'm sorry, a common denominator for both of them. I'm getting all my words mixed up. So that the denominators are the same. Okay, so same steps that we had before. Step 1, find a common denominator and write equivalent fractions. Okay, so I'm going to just ignore the whole numbers for right now. They're not going to change. They're still going to stay the same. So I'll just go ahead and write them down. My denominators are going to change so that they are both the same denominator. I know that 2 is a factor of 4. 4 is a multiple of 2. To get from 2 to 4, I only multiply it times 2. Okay, so I'm going to change to fourths. 2 times 2 equals 4. That's how I got to fourths. So whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So 1 times 2 is 2. So I've got 2 2/4 minus 1 1/4. This fraction stays the same because it's already fourths. Okay, so now I've changed it. I found equivalent fractions, and I've changed the denominators so that they are common denominators. So now I have 2 2/4 minus 1 1/4. The next step is just to subtract. Okay, so I'm going to subtract the fractions first. 2/4 minus 1/4 equals 1/4. Okay, the only actual subtraction that happens is with the numerator. The denominator stays the same denominator as before. Okay, so 1/4, and then I can subtract the whole numbers. So 2 minus 1 equals 1, and put that fraction back on that was left over. So I get 1 1/4. 2 2/4 minus 1 1/4 is 1 1/4. Okay, we're going to learn how to rename fractions, because sometimes you're going to come across some fractions that are different. Okay, you're going to see in just a second how they're different. We're going to start off with the same type of problem. We have a mixed number subtracting another mixed number. Same step 1. You write an equivalent fraction with common denominators. Okay, so I have to find a common denominator for the 2 and the 3. Okay, so I'm going to just multiply those denominators together, and 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, the whole number stays the same. Those don't change at all. Now to get from 2 to 6, let me erase this line so it doesn't get confusing. To get from 2 to 6, I had to multiply times 3. Whatever I do to the bottom of the fraction, I have to do to the top as well. So I'll take the 1 times 3. 1 times 3 is 3. To get from 3 to 6, I multiplied times 2. Whatever I do to the bottom, I got to do to the top. So 2 times 2 is 4. Okay? So now I have 4 and 3, 6, minus 1 and 4, 6. I have a problem. Did you spot the problem? Remember, we're going to start with our fractions when we subtract. So I have 3, 6 minus 4, 6. Well, I know the denominator is going to stay the same, but here's my problem. 3 minus 4. We haven't learned how to do 3 minus 4. It would be a negative number, but we're just dealing with positive numbers. So we haven't learned how to do 3 minus 4. And so what do we do when we get to 3 minus 4? Okay, or numbers where I know that 4 and 3, 6, if I had 4 pans of, or 4 pizzas and 3 sixths of another pizza, I know that's more than 1 pizza and 4 sixths of another. So I know I can subtract it because I know that this is bigger. But how do I do that? How do I go about subtracting when I've changed my fractions and one fraction is smaller than the other fraction? Well, that's what we're going to learn how to do. Okay? So now I've got 4 and 3, 6 minus 1 and 4, 6. Okay? We're going to do something that's called renaming. We're going to rename 4 and 3, 6 to show more 6. The amount of something doesn't change. If it was pizza, it wouldn't change the amount. It's just adding more 6 and changing the amount of 6 that I'm showing. Okay? And I'll show you how we're going to do that. Okay, so here's the problem again. I'm going to just look at 4 and 3, 6 for a moment. Okay? And I want you to think about it like, let's say you had 4 pizzas and the last pizza was cut into 6 and you have 3 pieces left. Okay? And you have to give away 1 whole pizza and 4 6. Well, that means that you're going to have to cut another pizza into 6 in order to give it away. Let me draw that to show you what I'm thinking. Okay, so here I've drawn my 4 pizzas. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 pizzas, and then another pizza I cut into 6. Oops, I actually cut that into 4 6. I'm going to eat a piece real quick. Num, 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 num. There we go. So I have 3 6 left over. I have 4 and 3 6. That's what that fraction is right there, okay? And my picture is showing 4 and 3 6. Now I've got to take away 1 and 4 6. Well, taking away one of them is easy, but taking away 4 6 is tricky because I've only got 1, 2, 3 6. So what's going to happen is I'm going to take one of my pizzas and I'm going to cut it into 6 again. So cut that pizza into 6. And then now I can give away 4 6. I can give away 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. And I can see by looking at it, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 pizzas left. I'm going to give that one away, and I'm going to give away those 4 6. And then I'm going to have 5 6 left over. Okay? So what I did is I took one away, and I cut it up into the same number fractions. I cut it into 6 6, and then when I took away one piece, I took away 1 6, then it would equal 5 6. Okay? So that's what we're doing with a model. Let me show you how to do that with our numbers. Okay? And get rid of that. So I've got 4 and 3 6. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take away one of those whole numbers. And I'm going to just take away 1. So 4 take away 1 is 3. Okay? Now, it didn't just disappear. That whole number is going to change into the fraction of that whole number. The fraction of that whole number is 6 6. I took away 1. 6 6 equals 1. right? I'm using 6 in my fraction, so that's why I chose to use 6, 6. I know 7 sevenths equals 1, 8 eighths equals 1, 2 halves equals 1, 4 fourths equals 1. But I'm going to use the fractional number that I'm using. I'm using 6, so I cut it into 6, 6. Okay? So I took away 1, and that means that I have 3 left over. Let me make some more room again. I have 3 left over, okay, and now I have 6 sixths of a pizza, and I have 3 sixths of my pizza. My 3 sixths came from right there, okay. This amount, 3 and 6 sixths plus 3 sixths, is the same amount as this 4 and 3 sixths. Sorry, that's all messy. Okay, so let me add that back up, and I've got 3 and 9 sixths now, okay. It's like making mixed numbers from, or it's like making an improper fraction, but instead of multiplying the whole number times the denominator and adding the numerator, I am just taking away 1, and I'm just multiplying 1 and adding 1. Okay, I'll show you that in a second. So I've got 3 and 9 sixths. Okay, so here's another way I could have done it. I've got 4 and 3 6 is what I started with. Okay. I take away 1. Take away 1. 1 times 6 is 6, plus 3 more is 9. So I have 9 6, so I have 3 and 9 6. Okay, so you just multiply 1 times the bottom number and then add the numerator, just like we did when we changed mixed numbers to improper fractions. Okay, so it's tricky. It's very similar to changing mixed numbers to improper fractions, only this time you're only going to take away 1 and multiply 1 times the bottom number plus the top number. So 1 times 6, 1 times 6 is 6, plus 3 more is 9. So I get 3 and 9 6. Okay? Now I can subtract 3 and 9 6 minus 1 and 4 6. Now I can subtract this. That's not hard. I'm going to subtract the fractional part first. 9 6 minus 4 6 equals 5 6. I keep the denominator the same. I only subtract the numerator. Okay, now I do the whole numbers. 3 minus 1 is 2. My answer is 2 and 5 6. Okay, so there, I went ahead and did that. Subtract is the last step. All right, let's try a few together. 7 and 2/3 minus 3 and 5 6. I'm going to have to change the denominator so that they are the same. I know that 6 is a multiple of 3, so I'm just going to change one fraction. I'm going to keep this fraction the same because I know I'm changing to 6. So to get from 3 to 6, I had to multiply times 2. 2 times, I'm only doing the numerator, 2 times 2 is 4. I keep the whole numbers the same. Okay, so now I have the same problem I just had. I have 7 and 4 6 minus 3 and 5 6, and 4 can't subtract 5. So I'm going to take away one of my whole numbers, and I'm going to take 1 times 6. 1 times 6 is 6, plus 4 equals 10. 10 6. So now I have 6 and 10 6 minus 3 and 5 6. Okay, do the fractional part first. 10 6 minus 5 6 is 5 6. And then 6 minus 3 is 3. Number 7. 5 minus 2 and 3/4. Sometimes you're going to have this problem. 5 minus 2 and 3/4. Okay, so I'm going to have to change the 5 to a fraction. To do that, I'm going to take 1 away. And I'm going to have 4. And I know I've got fourths there, okay? Because I'm using fourths because I was using fourths on that side. Okay, and a whole would be 4/4. Okay, 1 whole is 4/4, and I add that to my whole number 4. Okay, 4 and 4/4 is the same as the number 5. Minus 2 and 3/4. I subtract the fractions first. 4/4 minus 3/4 is 1/4, and then subtract the whole numbers. 4 minus 2 is 2. You get 2 and 1/4. Okay, number 8. 6 and 3/10 minus 1 and 4/5. I'm going to change the denominator so that they're the same first. I know that 10 is a multiple of 5, so I'm going to keep the 10 the same and only change the 5. Okay? So I'll still have 6 and 3/10 minus 1 and something tenths. Let's see what that will be. 5 times 2 is 10. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, same sort of problem where I have a fraction where the numerator that I'm subtracting from is smaller than what's being subtracted. So I'm going to have to rename the fraction. I'm going to take away 1. 1 times 10 is 10, plus 3 more is 13. So I have 5 and 13/10 minus 1 and 8/10. Subtract the fractions first. 13/10 minus 8/10 is 5/10. And then I can subtract the whole numbers. 5 minus 1 is 4. I have 4 and 5/10. I see I can simplify further. See, now it's getting really complicated. I can simplify by dividing the numerator and denominator by 2. Oh, I'm sorry, not by 2, by 5. I don't know what I was thinking. And I get 4 and 1/2 because 5/10 is 1/2. So 4 1/2 is my answer. Okay, your turn. You're going to do a couple for me. 9 and 1/3 minus 4 and 3/4. Pause the video and see how you do. Okay, so I renamed my fractions to 12ths. And then after I renamed them, I saw that 4 12ths minus 9/12 wasn't going to work, so I had to rename this fraction, and I renamed it to 8 and 16/12. And then I could subtract 16/12 minus 9/12, and my final answer is 4 and 7/12. Number 10, try this one. 6 minus 2 and 4/5. Okay, I had to rename that 6 to 5 and 5/5 minus 2 and 4/5, and then that one was kind of easy. It just ended up being 3 and 1/5. All right, you guys are finished. Good job on your hard work today. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.